Logos, POW! Today I'm going to talk about two obscure Konami shooters, which in all honesty should have been the same game, Flak Attack and Typhoon. In a previous video I talked about what Konami used to be like and what their games meant to me. Today I'm going to go into a bit more detail about a couple of those games that I used to illustrate my points in that video. Now, one thing out of the way, I'm using the names of these games that I knew growing up. Konami had a bizarre practice when it came to naming games in different regions. These two games are no exception. Flak Attack was also known as MX5000 in some regions, and Typhoon was known as Ajax outside Europe. Now that's Ajax, not Ajax, nope, not the football team, and definitely not the bog cleaner. Now, Flak Attack was released in 1987, a vertical shooter where after your luxury mansion is bombed, you take to revenge in your F-15 Eagle, which you keep parked in the swimming pool. That's all the plot I've got, really. Just take it or leave it. It's a standard shooter. One button shoots, the other one drops little ground attack bombs. In a massive blunder in game design, you can only power up weapons by shooting enemies to raise a gauge at the top of the screen. Aerial enemies boost the blue air-to-air bar, and ground enemies boost the orange air-to-ground bar. This is the only way to increase your firepower. This makes progress insanely difficult. Also, at the end of the stage, the power bars reset to 0. I mean, come on, why not carry it over to the next level? Another bizarre design choice is the boss fights. Your jet swoops down so it's really small, and then you can move and shoot in 8 directions, a bit like the Mega Drive game Granada. If you haven't powered up your ground attack by the end of the first stage, you're in for a long and slow battle. Flak Attack was released in the home for Microsoft's Game Room service for PC and Xbox 360 in 2010, and then for the PS4's Arcade Archives collection in 2016. There were no other home ports of it. It's an odd game, and one that, despite a classic Konami soundtrack, underachieves at most levels. Stranger still, Konami came out with another similar game not long after. Typhoon, or Ajax, was released in 1988. It's another vertical shooter, and like Flak Attack has 5 buttons for air and ground attack. It has a few Afterburner style shooting sections as well, most notably the stage where you dive bombing an aircraft carrier. Typhoon starts with this stage. You watch your fighter launch and you're straight into the 3D stage. Then you play as a helicopter for the vertical stages. In Ajax you have the same cinematic, then what? You're in a helicopter? Needless to say, this doesn't make sense. The jet fighter stage is stage 2 of Ajax, but stage 1 of Typhoon. Between the two versions, the first 3 levels are in different orders. It's very odd indeed. Mad region changes aside, the game's much better than Flak Attack. The weapons are more frequent, a red helicopter occasionally appears, and when shot reveals a power that cycles through the available weapons. Be quick though, as it flies off the screen at an alarming rate. There's 5 weapons: Vulcan, bombs, which can be powered up twice, 3-way, triple, and laser. There's also an option pickup that gives you a little drone helicopter that follows you around, but this is lost at the end of the level for no discernible reason. Typhoon shares a similar graphical style to Super Contra. The Vulcan weapon is almost the same, and I think the shell bomb from stage 2 of Super Contra is almost identical to the POW smart bomb from the Typhoon. The bosses explode in a similar way. This is almost like Typhoon is flying air support for Super Contra. The music's great, more classic Konami tunes, and I'm sure if you look hard enough on the internet, you'll find the soundtrack. Typhoon had some lackluster ports for the Spectrum, Amstrad and Commodore 64, courtesy of Imagine. A PC DOS version was also released, but the best home version of the game was for the Sharp X68000. More recently, Typhoon was released for the PS4's Arcade Archives collection. This version lets you choose which version of the game you want to play, either Typhoon or Ajax, so you can mix up those first 3 levels if you like. I'd say Typhoon is easier than Flak Attack, mainly due to the weapon availability, but that's not the point here. Typhoon is arguably better. Still flawed, gameplay has its issues and it shares Flak Attack's huge hitbox for example, but why two very similar games released so close together? Had Flak Attack been given more development time, it may well have become Typhoon anyway. Extra time honing 2 mediocre shooters would have made one truly remarkable one, surely. Well, thanks for listening to this most obscure of wafflings. Like, subscribe, Facebook, Twitter, etc, etc. And thank you for watching. Goodbye. Here, subscribe or naff off.